Welcome everyone to another episode of From the Box Seat, guest special episode of the Madrid Betar Podcast Channel. Today I have with me is Charlie Tuley from the Analytics La Liga Twitter page that most of you should know by now because Charlie is doing some amazing work with La Liga data and football data in general. Charlie, welcome to the show, and it's really nice to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. This is such a cool opportunity. I've never been on the podcast before, so I'm super excited to see how this goes.
Pleasure is all ours. I'm sure that our many of Madrid Betar's viewers already know you from your Twitter handle because you've been doing such great work there, and also congratulations on the part that you're doing with San Jose Earthquakes as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was really cool to know, and it's really good to have a fellow Managing Madrid writer on the podcast finally as well. I do a monthly piece for them as well, and you've been also doing such great work for Managing Madrid. It's just really awesome, and that is why we wanted to take the opportunity to talk about this big game that is happening this weekend, probably the biggest one that we have had in a long while. I mean, before every El Clasico, there is something or the other attached to the game anyway, just apart from being at El Clasico. But this one might well be the league decider, and I think this is the first El Clasico that will virtually decide the league after that Cristiano Ronaldo celebration at the Camp Nou. I don't think any El Clasico after that had this kind of an impact of the title race. So how are you feeling before the game?
I'll be honest, with our center backs, both of our starting center backs being out, I was terrified going into the Liverpool match. With the showing that Militao and Nacho put in, I am starting to feel a bit better. I think that I really thought we were going to have issues at the back in that game with the way their forward line presses and the goal scoring capabilities they have. But now I'm feeling I'm just a bit better and a bit more comfortable. I'm never going to be comfortable going into a class. I think we have a good shot at least keeping a clean sheet, which I think that's the number one goal aside from winning, of course. But I'm feeling okay at this point, which is better than what it was when Varane's coronavirus test came back positive. Because that was not the best news to wake up to.
Yeah, exactly. Because our viewers, the people who are listening to us, are from a time zone where when they got this news right after waking up, because we're in the Eastern time zone. So I literally woke up, and actually one of my writers for my website, he texted me that I've drafted the Varane news, and I'm like, what news? Did he play 200 games or something, or did he get an award? Why is there any news about Varane? And I was just devastated when I saw the title of his news. But yeah, as you said, that I wasn't actually much concerned about Nacho going into the Liverpool game, to be honest, because he has been phenomenal. I think this is his best center back year by a country mile for Real Madrid, no doubts. And if you actually check the numbers on FBref or anywhere, Ramos hasn't played half of the season. So and Nacho has deputized for most of that time, and he has done really, really well. And I think this could also be a point of redemption for Nacho this particular game as well, because historically he hasn't done well in Clásicos. I think he started Lopetegui's only Clásico, if I remember correctly, and probably he was taken off at halftime, if my memory.
So.
And also I think the same thing happened in the game that we won 3-1. I think the first goal that Fati scored, I think Nacho couldn't track him. So he hasn't had a good time facing Barcelona in the past, but I think he's in much better shape to do so right now. But the big elephant in the room was who is going to replace Varane. I think Militao rose to the occasion much better, and he didn't commit himself very high. He stayed back and dealt with the pressure quite well, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, I was wildly surprised that Liverpool didn't put him under that much pressure at all when he was on the ball, because usually he's a liability in possession a bit, but they just they gave him time, and that was the most surprising thing for me. I thought they were just going to close him down as soon as possible and try and win balls in our defensive third, but that was just very surprising to me.
I think one of the other reasons was because Modric and Kroos, what they do really well is one of them obviously like fall back between the two center backs as like the third center back or the quarterback as they call them now, and because like Casemiro doesn't stay that back in the build-up because of his like on the ball deficiencies. So I think even like when Vinicius scored the first goal, I think Militao and Kroos were literally on the same vertical line. So I think Liverpool thought that if we are going to press Kroos, it's not going to work anyway. So let's just not press him anyway, and that backfired for them. But speaking of, as you mentioned, speaking of Barcelona's goal scoring, threat that we're going to discuss on this podcast, of course, I'm just going to show one of the visualizations that you did, this awesome waffle chart. It like Barcelona's open play goals, it looks really scary. To be honest, it looks really scary. I was surprised that we score more counterattack goals than them. I was really surprised to see that, but you plotted it so nicely. But I was very scared. I'm still scared seeing how easily and in what volume Barcelona score their open play goals. Anything to add to that, Charlie?
I don't believe so, other than the fact that they're so good in possession, Barcelona, and moving the ball around the penalty area. But I think that's something that our team, Real Madrid, they're adept at. They're very good with absorbing the pressure and kind of sitting in a low block when necessary. And then that is, I believe, where our counterattack goals do come from, because we break out quickly and use our pace with players such as Vinicius and Rodrigo, who's not crazy fast, but he does have a bit of pace on him. So I think we should be able to handle relatively well staying in our own penalty area and absorbing their pressure as they'll try to play around and get the ball into the penalty area in good areas for Antoine Griezmann and Messi to try and finish at least. And Ousmane Dembele as well, assuming that he plays. Yes,
and I was before we started this, I was just listening to Kian and Jose's preview mailbag for Managing Madrid, and they discussed it in depth that Barcelona's 3-5-2 is probably their most stable formation for now, because it's getting a bit difficult, as Jose described it in depth detail how he does his greatness, of course, does it often, that in the 3-5-2, it's actually difficult to press Barcelona or out-press Barcelona and to take the ball from them, because now that De Jong has started to play as a center-back pretty much permanently, he and Busquets don't get in each other's way, and the same thing happens with Messi and Griezmann as well. They don't get in each other's way. And Ousmane Dembele, when he is fit, he's a force to be reckoned with. He might like miss 8-9 shots in a game, but he'll get you that goal that like he did against Valladolid. So Barcelona's offense is definitely going to be our biggest threat, of course, with Messi and hot form and everything. But how do you see their defense? Is it strong enough for us not to score in this game? Because I think that's our best chance in this game, obviously, to like score goals. But I think, do you think Real Madrid would just think that, okay, we're playing against Barcelona, we'll concede anyway, we just have to outscore them? Would that be a good idea going into this game?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like with the way Barcelona's defense has been playing lately, they've been quite solid. And I think just about the only way Madrid are going to score is either through a counterattack when they catch them out, or through some sort of individual error at the back, either in possession or just having the ball taken off of them, or some defensive error where they'll miss a tackle or something like that. I feel like that's the only way we're going to be able to score, either through a counterattack or through some defensive error. So like something like what we saw against Liverpool at the first goal, where we can catch them out and try and hit them over, which they do tend to play a bit of a high line. So something like that could be possible, but I highly doubt they would try and give us that much time on the ball like what Toni Kroos was given against Liverpool.
Yeah, because Barcelona actually press pretty high and pretty good. If we see this, I made this before the Eibar game. So Barcelona L'Oreal and Eibar are the three teams that press the most in the opponent's attacking third. So yeah, we probably wouldn't have that much of time on the ball as we had against Liverpool, and obviously like they would have taken note of it, that don't leave Cruz out with that much space with Vinicius or Asensio running off the shoulders of the center backs. But personnel wise, I think well my ideal starting lineup would be exactly the same lineup that started against Liverpool for Real Madrid. I don't see any necessity or any reason to change anything from that team, because I think right now, even if Eden Hazard makes this match day squad, I in no chance in hell I don't want him to start this game, because it's just going to be incredibly unfair and cruel to Vinicius, and also I don't think it's going to be detrimental to Real Madrid, because Hazard, even if he's back, he needs to get some pace back. Anything else you would like to say about the starting lineup?
I don't believe so. I think you dead on with using the same lineup as Liverpool. I just feel like there could be a shout in for Rodrigo. Now, I don't want that to happen. I think Asensio has been playing pretty well as of late, but I feel like just knowing Zidane and knowing that you never know what he's going to toss out, he could put Rodrigo out there, and I just wouldn't be surprised with that.
One change that wouldn't surprise me would probably be if Fede Valverde makes the squad against instead of Asensio, because Zidane has used Fede a lot as that right midfielder / right winger / right wing back position. So and he does well there, and if we are talking about relentless press, he is also very useful, just breaking the press with his pace and just, carrying the ball out from the back. So Zidane might think about that as well. Also, he has that knack of, deploying someone to track Messi. If you remember that 3-0 game that we lost at the Bernabeu, Kovacic didn't give anything away to Messi for the entirety of that first half. So Zidane also has that knack of, deploying someone specifically for Messi. But it'll be, regardless of who plays, it'll be interesting starting lineup, I think.
Yeah, most definitely.
About Barcelona, what do you think? Like, again, like the team that they played against Valladolid, I think that's their strongest lineup at this moment. I think Piqué started training with the team today. There was a news that he's not going to play this game. But if you're Ronald Koeman and if Gerard Piqué is fit, do you start him?
I don't believe so. I have no idea about his fitness. I know he's been working with the team, like you said, but I don't think you risk it at this point. It's the same along the lines as Hazard for Real Madrid. I don't think you start him. I don't think you risk him. The game is obviously incredibly important, but I don't think you waste one of your most important players the rest of the season on this one game.
Exactly. And Oscar Mingueza has actually been doing pretty well. And I think the first thing that you have to do if you are to be a Barcelona player is to be incredibly well with the ball at your feet. And for a center back, he's pretty comfortable, surprisingly comfortable on the ball. And I think and he actually complements that high line really well. When De Jong is really further up the pitch, he drops back, and when De Jong is dropping back, I think he supports Dest on the right hand side. So it's the right balance, and it's bad for us that Ronald Koeman found his best 11 right before this game, like 3 or 4 games before this game. It's in no way ideal for us, but. Let's get into substitutions in that sense then. Last game we saw that Rodrigo came in for Vinicius, then Fede Valverde replaced Asensio. Again, we still don't know. Eden Hazard may well not be in the matchday squad at all, saving him for the trip to Liverpool and such. But if he is in the squad, do you give him some minutes in this game?
I think that depends on how the game goes. I wouldn't. That's where I'm leaning at this point. I think I'm all for Zidane's tactics of playing only 11 or 12 players per match and not rotating in these big games unless you feel that you can give the other team the leeway to drop your quality a little bit, or you need to bring in someone like Rodrigo who's got a bit more pace than Asensio to try and take advantage of some the fullbacks getting tired later on. So I don't think so. I could obviously see Rodrigo, Fede Valverde come on, but other than that, I don't think so. Even if Hazard's in, I don't see any need for him.
Yep. Another player historically, I think, who plays well in El Clásicos, even more so recently, I think, is Isco. But I don't like. It's going to be a surprise. You don't give him a single minute against Liverpool and then you play him against Barcelona. Yeah. It's going to be a huge surprise. But yeah, then again, it's Zidane. We might as well see Marcelo, Isco, Eden Hazard, all of them starting. Yeah. Since it's Zidane, we'll never know. So a bit more about the gameplay, Charlie. I'm just going to show one of your other visualizations that you did recently. This is La Liga club's corner kick performance. I think this is from just a week or so back, but still very much relevant. I was actually pleasantly surprised to see Real Madrid on the bottom right quadrant on this one. I don't remember having so much, strength and everything at the start of the season from scoring from corners, but I think in the middle of the season we picked a lot of pace regarding that, and we have been defending corners well as well. Interesting one would be this one, because in here we see that Barcelona are fairly poor at defending and scoring from free kicks. I believe this is not calculating direct free kicks, I suppose? Or
yes, it is not.
Okay, yeah, because I think Messi has scored one or two from free kicks this season as well. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But yeah, again, good to see Real Madrid doing really well at defending set pieces this season. This has been something of our Achilles heel before as well, conceding from set pieces. Good to see not doing that. What's your overall view on our defensive system this season, Charlie?
I think it's been tough with all the injuries we've had and not having, obviously we have set players that we're going to play each time, but if they're fit, but with injuries to Carvajal, with injuries to Ramos, with Varane's COVID test, and he had a bit of an injury earlier in the season, I believe. And also I'd toss in Casemiro as well because he's just so important to the defense. Yeah. It's been so tough because, Lucas Vazquez is a great player. I have all the most respect for him, and he's a fine defender, I will say. He's not great in just defensively in one-on-one situations and things like that, but he has gotten better. So I would say, obviously, we're nowhere near at the quality we were last season because that was the best defense I have ever seen in my entire life.
Likewise. I have never seen Real Madrid defend so well, and probably I will never see that again.
Never again.
It was spot on, and the kind of defensive numbers that Ramos and Varane had last year, they were just unbelievable. And even obviously there is all this Twitter banter and chatter going on about Virgil van Dijk and Sergio Ramos all the time, but I lost the viz. It's somewhere in my Twitter or somewhere that Varane was better than Van Dijk last season. So Ramos was even farther better than that, but Van Dijk last season wasn't even as good as Varane. But
in what terms? In just what were you looking at overall statistics?
No, not all statistics. League play, defensive statistics, pressure-wise, tackles, and everything. It's I think also goes on to say that the kind of style Liverpool played last season. There are certain actions that Van Dijk didn't have to do that Ramos and Varane had to commit a lot on, but still, Varane's and Ramos's numbers were off the charts. I don't think we'll see that from any Real Madrid defender in a long time again. Apart from that, I think there was a game today of Manchester United and Granada, and I think United scored the exact same goal that Cruz and Vinicius did. So yeah, I was seeing someone's tweet that Granada definitely forgot to watch Liverpool versus Real Madrid. I say that because of that high line issue again, that Barcelona would definitely have taken note of this, that Liverpool played such a high line and how Real Madrid exploited. Anything else Real Madrid could do you obviously, like already said, that the easiest or the most feasible way for us to a goal would be probably through a counter attack or from an individual mistake. How do you see our chances from set pieces as well? We have scored against Barcelona in set pieces historically really well. Is that also a very good avenue in this game for Real Madrid?
Yeah, that for Real Madrid, that's the number one avenue every match. I mean, from corners, obviously we're missing Varane this game and Ramos, who are both massive from offensive set pieces. Varane more so lately because he's been playing more than Ramos has. So he's a huge loss. But I mean, Militao is not bad coming on set pieces. I mean, I believe
he actually scored a goal for in the Copa del Rey game.
Yeah. So I mean, he's not bad at all. Casemiro, of course, is immense, as is Benzema. Corner kicks are huge for Real Madrid, especially later on in the season. We've been coming more and more. The corner kicks have been huge, as are the offensive set pieces. Toni Kroos hitting in the outswinging balls from either side. That I believe is their by far easiest route to scoring, as long as they can get those chances there. That's the big if.
Yep. Yeah. And like whenever they do, they would have to capitalize like Vinicius did the other day. Usually we don't see it from them, but hopefully that phase is now gone. And at least for this game, that phase has to be gone if we are to score. And yes. And what we'll finish off this podcast on, Charlie, is because of like Zidane's flair and everything, like how he was as a player, many people I think don't recognize that he is actually a very good defensive coach. Like his defensive structure and emphasis on good defense is paramount. I don't think we realize it often because before everything happened of like Ronaldo leaving and Zidane leaving, it was always about we'll just outscore the opponent. We don't care about the defense and all. But since he came back, how did you see his entire defensive approach? And if you can add something to that how he has developed this defensive structure within the team.
Well, I think the first note has to be he was such a great offensive player, and I think that really factors in to his knowledge of defenses. Because I mean, if you know how to break them down, you know what to work with, what to see. You see it differently than if a defender is just going, oh, this is what I've done my entire career. Let's just do that. No, he says, oh, Ramos, you're doing this wrong because I would exploit that as a player. You're stepping out here. That's easy for me to exploit. So I think that factors into it massively. But like you were saying, yes, the Real Madrid have just gotten massively better defensively since he came in. And I think that's owed up to, one, just the discipline. And since he's come in, I mean, he's instilled this more pride defensively because, like you said, it was just score more than your opponent always with Cristiano Ronaldo. Now we don't have this guy who's going to put in 50 goals a season for us. So, I mean, we need to actually protect a lead when we get it. And that's why we saw, 21-0 wins last year, something like that. I mean, we were putting in, it was clean sheets almost every game. I think we conceded only 22 goals or somewhere in the low 20s that season. Yes, I think the loss of Ronaldo was just massive in reforming the whole defensive structure and how Ramos and Varane had to solidify themselves as better defensive players, Ramos especially, because it was always talked about that he was just an offensive center back and he scored, and that's why everyone rated him so highly. He's really shown in the past couple of years with his actual defensive skills and his leadership that he is one of the best center backs of all time, at least.
Yep, of course, most definitely. And what we're really going to miss in this game is, if you remember, in the last Clásico that we won at the Camp Nou, there was, I think it was well past the 80th minute. It was a breakaway from Barcelona and Messi was on the ball and Ramos was actually organizing the defense and running along with Messi. He put in a very unorthodox tackle that is not really unorthodox for him, but probably for other defenders. But then he got the ball off Messi and then I think he started another break away for Real Madrid. So it was just in 3 seconds he did like 5, 6, 7 things all at once. That is that leadership, that quality, that core defensive strength. That is definitely something I hope Real Madrid doesn't miss, but there is always the chance. Charlie, thanks a lot for joining on the show today. As I say to many of our guests and almost all of our guests, that this was your first episode with Madrid Betar. I hope that this most definitely is not your last. Thank you so much for joining on the show today. I hope that our viewers enjoyed it as well. We'll catch them next time as well, and take care.